This is the newsroom.
This is the newsroom for Wednesday, November 19, 2025. We're broadcasting to you on E1, SKAR TV, NTN, and TARZEE TV in Bartica. The headlines: stakeholders focus on issues affecting men as International Men's Day observed.
They might find in that one split second that courage to go and say, you know what? I'm being abused or beaten up.
A mother and daughter who graduated from the Teachers Training College together share their story. Edghill says major infrastructure focus across the country helping to improve people's lives. And in sport, Guyana ready to host Senior Caribbean Squash Championships, and New Zealand clinches ODI series against West Indies. With the news, I am Lizzie Yearwood. Thanks for joining us. Minister of Human Services and Social Security, Dr. Vindhya Prasad, has raised concerns about the way men seeking help for abuse are treated at police stations, warning that ridicule and mockery remain major barriers to reporting. Recognizing the need to improve the entry points for reporting abuse, Dr. Prasad said police have been trained under the Cop Squad initiative and further reforms are coming. Early next year, she said, the ministry will roll out a QR code that allows civilians to report their interactions with the police. Dr. Prasad made this revelation while speaking at a men's wellness symposium held on Wednesday in observance of International Men's Day.
We need to work on the police stations out there so that when men go to the police stations, they're not diminished, they're not laughed at, they're not mocked, because that happens. They might find in that one split second that courage to go and say, you know what? I'm being abused or beaten up, something's going wrong with me. We have the 914. See, look, yes, you're right. But we have the 914 hotline. And what we saw, since this hotline was established, we saw for the first 3 years, only women calling the hotline. I looked at the stats of this year, and now we are seeing more men calling the hotline to report abuse and violence, and that is progress. The services are not only for women. 914, the iMatter app, the legal pro bono initiative where we provide free legal support, the counseling services, the shelters, all of these things are gender neutral. And so is the new legislation, which I took to Parliament in 2024 and got support on, and today is now called the Family Violence Act of 2024. It's gender neutral. It's for both men and women. We need to really raise the next generation to understand the expectations of each other and to be realistic too. But in being realistic, we should not be permissive. It's a big difference. We should not be okay with abuse. We should not be okay with violence on either side. And we should not be okay with disrespect. And we should not be okay with preconceived old labels and definitions of what men should do and women should do. Those things don't exist anymore.
A mother and her teenage daughter jointly celebrated graduating from the Cyril Potter College of Education CPCE recently. Holly London, 41, from Golden Fleece, West Coast Berbice, shared with the newsroom that she taught private school for 19 years before transitioning to public school, Bushlot Nursery School, in January 2025. Hollis and her daughter, Maria London, 19, began their studies at CPCE in 2023 at the Belladrum CPCE Center. For Hollis, it had always been one of her goals to attend CPCE, and after years, to now complete her training with her daughter by her side was a miracle. The mother and daughter duo spoke about their journey together with the newsroom.
I would have been a teacher for over 19 years. However, I was at a private institution, Treasurer's Academy, and pursuing my studies at the Siripata College of Education has always been one of my goals. I would have, after pursuing studies and pursuing my goals, it was in this year, January, I would have been accepted to be a part of the government system, to be a teacher at Bushlat Nursery School, which was a great deal of desire for me. However, my journey at Siripata College of Education was one with a miracle, I can say. It was one journey that I can say it was only God. God that did it, God that would have directed me there. Because after teaching for so many years at a private institution, I would have, gained favor there, and I was quite comfortable. So the transition was a little emotional. However, it was worth it. It was worth it. I was actually being called the mom between my fellow colleagues at Siripata College of Education. The young ladies, some of them I would have taught from my private institution, so they really looked up to me. So it was a great deal of and a blessings to would have walked through Siripata College of Education. The journey, it was, I can say, a 50-50. There were some days that I wanted to give up. There were some days that I felt frustrated. But having my daughter along with me was such a blessing. It was an experience that, I think some people would wait a lifetime for. But God would have blessed me with such amazing blessings to pursue this educational goal with my daughter. I was challenged most of the time in technology because after being, in this century, it's mostly young people who would, enjoy technology and know to maneuver most with it. So my daughter being there would have, been guiding me through that journey with my technology, and I would have been sharing knowledge to her for my years of experience teaching, being a teacher at the private institution. So we worked hand in hand. When I was weak, she held me up. When she was weak, I held her up, and we both trusted mostly in God, who would have took us through.
What to say? A competition for me, right? At one time when we had exams and so on, we used to do the same exam. I started mine and she had to do hers, and I make sure I get enough marks or more marks than her to show her that I can do this and I can do that more than her. So it pushes me more. Yeah, it was very great though.
Public Works Minister Juan Edghill on Wednesday said the country's infrastructural boom has significantly changed everyday life with community roads and soon expanded marine services. During his appearance on the Starting Point podcast, the minister recounted the work conducted by his ministry since 2020, which paved the way for upgraded community roads across the country. Edghill said President Dr. Irfan Ali had tasked his ministry with ensuring the build-out of the deepwater port at Bartica, among other connectivity projects, provides further relief for citizens.
We literally took people out of the mud. Let's go to hinterland communities, where they're not attached to the grid, but the government was able to literally take 30,000 homes out of the dark by giving each home a PV system for household use. We have successfully executed hundreds of contracts of community roads in the Essequibo, taking care of all of that. But we still have a problem that we are fixing, and that is the road from Supernam to Charity. And in this term, we're going to make that road into a 4-lane road.
Okay.
4 lanes from Supernam to Charity. We're building out a new wharf at Charity to take care of what is going on in the Pomeroon, as well as the people who come over from Region 1 through Maruka. President Ali has asked us, and we have a whole task force that both from the Public Works Ministry as well as support from engineers outside of the Public Works Ministry to look at how we could link the islands of the Essequibo using components of the Demerara Harbor, the old Demerara Harbor Bridge.
Right.
Sections of it is going to Sand Hill to make that crossing from Timiri to Sand Hill to deal with the road that we have built all the way to Falmouth so you could get into Bartica. So in 2 hours, once you leave Georgetown, you're in Bartica with a truckload of your fuel, your mining equipment. And this is what we're talking about, transforming people's lives.
When the newsroom returns, the Attorney General again comments on a recent court ruling involving Azzuddin Mohammed and the Guyana Revenue Authority. Welcome back. This is Newsroom. Attorney General Anil Nandlal SC, during his Tuesday night Issues in the News program, again spoke about the luxury vehicle tax case involving the Guyana Revenue Authority and Azzuddin Mohammed. While Justice Gino Prasad last week ruled that the GRA could not legally assess imports after they were cleared and taxes paid, Chancellor of Judiciary Acting Roxanne George on Monday ruled that the authority could impose post-clearance taxes in a case involving businessman Jiang Zhen Yu and the GRA. So, Nandlal said the acting chancellor's ruling contradicts Justice Prasad's and again restated his disagreement with last week's ruling in the luxury vehicle case.
Guyana imports approximately 100,000 containers per year. If the judge decision is to be followed, we will have chaos in this country. If that judgment is correct. And that is why it is important that we discuss these matters. It is much larger. The issue here is far greater than the case that was decided. Far greater. This is a matter now of national importance. To accede to the applicant's contention, and the applicant's contention is that once the GRA clears the goods, that's the end of the matter, they can't come back. Once they accept the taxation, they can't come back. And that is what Justice Gino Prasad has ruled. This is the Chancellor of the Judiciary now. To accede to the applicant's contention would mean that an importer could make false declaration. And that is exactly what the GRA is contending was done in relation to that motor vehicle. False declaration. And here the Chancellor is taking the bull by the horn. It would mean that an importer could make a false declaration to the GRA, and once their goods have been entered and cleared, the authority, meaning the GRA, could not be able to conduct a further assessment. And the judge is saying that even though the Taxing Act must be strictly construed, the fact is that the provisions of the Act, provisions of the Customs Act, identified by GRA, permit the reassessment of taxes after the goods had been entered and cleared. As the provision states, the GRA may request documents to be produced to substantiate the declarations made. That is what GRA did. Asked for the documents, and the GRA had in their possession documents that contradicted the declaration presented in the Mohammed's case. And they produced that to the court.
Cardiologist Dr. Mahendra Karpan has issued a stern warning that men are dying years earlier than women because of lung cancer, accidents, and suicide, combined with a deep-rooted culture of not seeking help. Speaking Wednesday at the Men's Wellness Symposium at Herdmanston Lodge for International Men's Day, Dr. Karpan said men in the Caribbean and globally live 3 to 4 years shorter than women and face over twice the risk of premature death.
Men have shorter life expectancy. Men are more than twice as likely than women to have premature death, meaning dying before that expected lifetime. And the main culprits for this: cardiovascular disease, liver disease, lung cancer, and motor vehicle accidents, and other types of accidents in this part of the world. Because generally, men tend to take the higher risk jobs. And the suicide rates are also higher in men. So if we're truly looking at equality, we have to address these issues. So we often wait until there's severe symptoms, until your chest starts to hurt. That's when you go in and seek care from the cardiologist. in general, I mean, if a group of men just gaffing and you say, boy, I gotta go and get myself checked out, I'm not feeling too well, there's often a stigma and a little tantalizing. You rub somebody, and those kind, even innocent words, friendly words, tend to make people pull back from two things: from actually doing the things that save lives, but also from talking about it. We have to have a more comprehensive evaluation of men when they do decide to have this conversation. So the concepts in men's health can be easily broken down into three categories for first understand the physical component, the mental component, and then the social well-being. We have to move to that state where we destigmatize people seeking help. Mental health is an important component of overall health, and people seeking help, it's just like the diabetic taking medication for diabetes or the hypertensive taking medication and doing correct things to control their hypertension. We have to get to that stage where we see it not as a stigma, but as another health condition that has to be treated. We have to promote regular, healthy lifestyle. The checkup is an important thing. And I would advocate that we move to a system of cradle to grave, but even if we can't get there completely, I think we should have to get our screening program started by 25, 30 years old. And these are basic things. We know what kills people, number one in this country, cardiovascular disease. So make sure your height, weight, cholesterol, blood pressure, blood sugar, all of those things are checked by the time you're 25 years old. And sometimes just listening is enough. A lot of people come to you and talk about stuff, not because they want you to fix the problem, but they just want somebody to listen. Listen without interrupting.
Traffic Chief Mahendra Singh says the Safe Road Intelligence System has become a decisive tool in tightening traffic enforcement nationwide, with more than 15,000 speeding tickets issued through the system alone since it became operational in April 2025.
Since April this year, over 15,000 speeding tickets were issued through the Safe Road Intelligence System. Speaking at the launch of the Guyana Police Force Christmas Policing Plan recently, Traffic Chief Mahendra Singh said the integration of smart cameras and road monitoring technology has transformed Safe City into Safe Country. The automated system, officially launched on April 7, 2025, was developed mainly to monitor speeding. However, it also detects a range of other offenses, including tinted windows, colored lights, and failure to wear seat belts.
We had one command center many years ago. These days, in each almost every coast and division, there's an operable command center. Safe City has translated to Safe Country. These cameras help us to have a real-time appreciation of where the issue exists so that we can deploy or redeploy to meet the demand. And I want to tell you that each week, arising out of the help of the Safe City system, we have more than 200 cases being made, specifically as it relates to parking and obstruction type offenses. Don't leave it, don't be ticketed, and don't wonder how we knew. Because this lotto, you have to pay. If you don't pay, we will proceed to court to ensure the warrant is there to compel you to pay.
Speeding remains the most prevalent offense. Singh also highlighted the effectiveness of speed radar signs and ongoing efforts to remove reckless drivers from the road.
Speeding tickets, 32,768 speeding tickets issued during the period, of which 15,000 were from the Safe Road Intelligence System, which was operationalized on April 7, 2025. This says some story. With 26 operable sites and some of the speeds as much as 180. I think the only thing left for someone is pull the gear shift and raise the vehicle going upwards. Tickets issued generally, 47,601 tickets were issued for traffic offenses in this country from January 1 to present day. 21 driver's licenses would have been suspended for the period from January 1st to present day for drivers who would have been involved in accidents. Most of them causated by dangerous driving charge.
Additionally, motorists stopping on the Barajagyo-Demerara River Bridge will face a $100,000 fine, and already 7 drivers have been penalized under this measure. With the Christmas policing period in full effect, the traffic chief urged motorists to obey the traffic laws. Reporting for the newsroom, I'm Sharda Bacchus.
Welcome back. This is the newsroom. Every connection on Earth begins with one simple thing: location. At ENET, that simple idea is transforming how people see, plan, and connect the world. This GIS Day, ENET is celebrating the power of Geographic Information Systems, GIS, a digital technology that turns complex data into clear insights, helping people and businesses across Guyana make smarter decisions. Athena Ali, GIS Department Coordinator at ENET, shares more in this video. So GIS is Geographical Information Systems. That's what the acronym stands for. But you can think of it as data and maps coming together. So it's the visualization and the analysis of those two environments, the data and the maps together, to help make informed decisions and see things that you might not normally be able to see. So it's direct planning and decision making. And GIS is important because any modern business or like planning department or city or country, GIS is the backbone for building like urban infrastructure and making data-driven decisions. Here at ENET, for GIS, we're trying to promote integration and accessibility for GIS. We're trying to get the message out that GIS isn't just for GIS personnel. Like, we built a system, but the intention is that it is used by everyday people and by customer service reps, by field staff. The GIS system here at ENET is fully integrated, meaning that a lot of users do not require a special software or they don't require special training. Everything's accessible through a web browser. You do need a specific login for some applications. So leading up to today's activity, we had a really short survey that participants who were coming to the event filled out. It's basically, the purpose of the survey was to have somebody fill out a form. It drives a data set, and then that data set populates into having cool graphs and statistics that are generated on the fly. So we had a really fun game where on a map in the form you can choose where Kaichur is, but we removed all the labels and we removed all the boundaries. So without that information, we had kind of like pinned the tail on the donkey. We had people choose or guess where they think Kaichur is. So they have to come to the event and they could see where they thought Kaichur is compared to where everybody else, and whoever gets the closest gets a little prize. So GIS is not boring, it's not complicated. GIS is in everything you do. There's not a day that you wake up that you do not make a spatial decision. If you're going to the supermarket, you have to think, what's my best route? If you're trying to plan somewhere you need to live, where you're going to send your children to school, these are all spatial decisions that you make every day. So from urban planning to telecommunications to tourism, GIS impacts everything. If anybody takes away anything from GIS Day, it's two things. One is that the GIS system for most end users, there's no training required, there's no special software. The second thing is that GIS isn't just points or lines or polygon shapes on a map. Those elements link to a data set. So for most people, you can think Excel spreadsheets. So when every line, point, or polygon on a map, you click on it, you can see for cell towers, for example, you can see what's the height of an antenna, what's the name of this tower, what region is this tower in, where are those antennas facing. You can see that tabular data set in a visual form that's more easily digestible on top of multiple layers of things like population, village boundaries, waterways, areas at risk for like floods or fires. And then with all of that information compressed, you can actually make data-driven decisions to help you plan faster and act smarter. Cannabis amounting to 55.75 pounds was found at a house in Angois Avenue, New Amsterdam on Tuesday. In a release, the Guyana Police Force said the large discovery was made during an intelligence-led operation. During the operation, ranks searched a two-story wooden house where contact was made with two men, a 27-year-old and a 26-year-old, both masons of Angois Avenue, New Amsterdam. A search of the living room led to the discovery of two bulky black plastic bags and several parcels wrapped in transparent plastic, all containing leaves, seeds, and stems suspected to be cannabis. The suspected narcotics were transported to the narcotics branch, where weighed in the presence of the suspects and amounted to 55.75 pounds. The narcotics were then processed and lodged. Both men remain in custody as investigations continue. When the newsroom returns, the financial, weather, and bridge reports, along with sport news. Stay with us. Welcome back to Newsroom. Now for a look at what's happening in sport. We start things off with some squash news. The Guyana Squash Association, GSA, is gearing up to host the Caribbean Area Squash Association, CASA, Senior Championships from November 23 to 29. With teams arriving from Friday, Tournament Director DJ Dias stated that despite just 15 days of notice, the GSA has pulled together with key support from the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sports and the corporate community to get systems in place for the event. Guyana opted to host the event after the scheduled host Jamaica was recently hit by a massive hurricane. Dias noted that players from 8 countries will travel to Guyana and that over 120 players will compete in the one-week tournament, which will be played mainly at the National Racquet Centre, with some matches at the Georgetown Club courts. Dias, who is the tournament director, spoke to Newsroom on Wednesday.
CASA is being used for qualification for CAC games, Central American Caribbean Games. The deadline for that submission is December 1st. CASA finishes on the 29th, so we could not even delay it at all. So somebody had to do it. When CASA looked about who is best to pick it up, when I was talking to my friends on the board, they're like, oh, we know that Guyana is probably going to put their hand up because we have the capability and the confidence to know we could pull this off. And in reality, because we hosted last year and we hosted many CASAs, in many things, muscle memory kicks in and we could rely on, like, for instance, we need to handle the meals, Robin and Lloyd to handle the logistics, I'll handle the squash, Lorraine and David dealing with the board and getting those things planned out, talking to sponsors. So it's in our wheelhouse. It's well over 200 man hours of all of us putting our work together. What's pretty brutal about it is usually we have a year to line up our sponsors and stuff like that. But what was really good about it, if you didn't know, the reason why we're taking CASA on so late is because what happened with Hurricane Melissa in Jamaica. That was really a tragedy. And even though Kingston was relatively okay, places like Black River and St. Elizabeth were decimated. And the optics and ethics of routing money to sports when you have persons without a home, it just wasn't a bad look. So even though CASA could have gone on, they were like, no, let's look at the morality of it. Is anybody willing to put their hand up? So we said yes. What's really good is that when we're going to our situation of what's happening in Jamaica, the Guyanese community has come on board. They want to help us help them. Because a big part of what we're going to do as well is, of course, the tournament is going to have its costs. What we've pledged to do is our surplus is going to go back with Jamaica Squash to Jamaica to help with the Melissa effort. A part of the confidence we're putting up our hand is knowing that we have the facility. I can remember when President Fanali opened this facility, he made a challenge to us to say that we want to bring sports tourism to Guyana, and that was a big part of why he was willing to invest in Guyana Squash so much. So it's a testament to us being good on that promise to say, hey, you've invested in us, let's use this facility to the best that we can. Also, we get a lot of support from our corporate sponsor, ENET. They've always been hand in hand with us for many years now. And when we said that we want to pick up this ball because of what happened with Hurricane Melissa, they were like, this sounds like a great mission, we're all in. And of course, with this facility, building it alone is one thing, but maintenance and making sure that it's being kept properly is another thing. So we've had talks with the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport up to yesterday. We met with Minister Stephen Jacobs, and we were able to figure out how could we elevate this facility even further. Making sure that everything is working tip-top shape, so it's a good representation of the quality of facilities that we have here in Guyana now.
New Zealand clinched the 3-match one-day international series against the West Indies, securing an unassailable 2-0 lead after a dramatic 5-wicket victory in the second rain-reduced match in Christchurch. West Indies posted 247 for 9 in the 34 overs a-side contest, largely thanks to an outstanding unbeaten 109 from Shy Hope. However, the hosts successfully chased the target of 248 with 3 balls to spare. A century opening stand between Devon Conway, 90, and Rachin Ravindra, 56, set the foundation. Despite losing key wickets in the middle order, all-rounder Mitchell Santner once again proved the difference, smashing a crucial 34 from just 14 balls, including 18 off the 32nd over, to seal the victory in a tense final over. The third ODI is on Friday from 2100 hours. All-rounder Matthew Ford spoke to the media after the match.
Looking at it from our positive point of view, kudos to Shea Hope today. He played a very brilliant innings. Second fastest to get to 6,000 runs for the West Indies. So, I really want to say well played to him. But, as a batting group, getting up to 250 on those kind of wickets, we look at that as a positive. Probably thought that, we got enough runs on the board, but obviously, the New Zealand is a very good side and probably number 1 or 2 in the world. So, playing against them is always going to be a challenge. And as they showed today, they were never out of the game. As we can see, it's very difficult in the power play. New ball is nipping all over, but as you tend to bat deeper, it tends to get a bit easier and flattens out a bit. So, with the ladder off the ball, it can go the distance. So that's what we've been banking on, and clearly, New Zealand has been banking on that as well. And for them, Santner has been a real thorn in our back, really. He's a very good player, very experienced player. So, we try different things at him. So far, he's been able to counteract everything. We have to go back and try to create one more plan for this last game and take away a win on New Zealand soil for the ODIs.
Rising sprint star Khaliza Smith has delivered a breakthrough performance for Guyana, capturing a bronze medal in the women's 100-meter final at the Islamic Solidarity Games in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. The Pan American Junior Games medalist finished the highly competitive final in a time of 11:59 seconds at the Prince Faisal bin Fahad Stadium, securing Guyana's first podium finish of the Games. Smith had comfortably booked her place in the final earlier in the day, confidently winning her round 1 heat with a time of 11:62 seconds. Her final time was slightly outside her season's best of 11:45 seconds. Guyana's preparations for the upcoming Rugby America's North Sevens Championship in Trinidad and Tobago have been bolstered by a significant injection of support from the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport. Both the men's and the women's squads are set to feature in the Caribbean Showpiece running November 28 to 30. With the government confirming a comprehensive package of financial aid and training equipment to aid their campaign. The timely intervention ensures the athletes are fully equipped before departure, with officials citing it as part of a broader strategy to strengthen the sports infrastructure nationwide. Speaking ahead of the team's travel, the president of the Guyana Rugby Football Union, Ryan Day, hailed the impact of the state's involvement.
We haven't seen our ladies out there in almost 10 years. I must say thank you to the government of Guyana and both ministers, Minister Jacobs and Minister Ramsden, for putting the effort out there to help us to get, especially our female team out there. Their help for us is tangible and intangible. The president as well, he is one that, garnered us to say, listen, we need a women's team. And that's to show what kind of vision he has. And with him, now we have a female team leading our shores. As a union, we can't say that we haven't had the preparation time, we haven't had support from the government. So with that, I would think that our teams, both teams, will go and make Guyana proud. Well, this is something I can speak for firsthand. This is the first time that the national park has floodlights. That is something that cannot be understated. That importance cannot be understated. Knowing in the times that we're living in, where you have people working, and especially where you have short days like these, those lights are very important. the ministers, they help us to fix the washrooms. Our facilities are there. We have promised from the president and ministers to have what we've been longing for, I think, since the sport has emerged, is a place to call our own. And I know as long as the president makes a promise, he always fulfills it. So I'm sure by New Year we will have an area to call our own. This is one of the biggest tournaments that we have yearly. So we're going to 8 SBC series as long as we win. The women and the men have a chance to go to the Central Caribbean Games. So I think with the blend for the females, with the blend of youth and experience, and for the males with the blend of experience with the amount of youth that we have as well, we have the combination that we need.
Guyana's senior men's national team, the Golden Jaguars, finished their opening fixtures in the CONCACAF Friendly Series with 2 wins from 2, maintaining a perfect record in Group C under new head coach Thomas Dooley. The team capped off their successful run with a convincing 4-1 demolition of hosts Antigua and Barbuda on Tuesday evening, following a hard-fought 2-1 victory over Bonaire just days earlier. The second victory was marked by an early brace from leading scorer Omari Glasgow, who put Guyana 2-0 up inside 23 minutes. Although Antigua and Barbuda managed to pull a goal back, the visitors quickly extinguished any comeback hopes. Goals from Oseas de Rosario, 71st minute, and Stephen Duke McKenna, 76th minute, sealed the dominant 4-1 result. The maximum 6 points from 2 games provides a significant boost in Guyana's standing as they prepare for the next round of matches against Aruba and Barbados in March 2026. And with that, we've come to the end of this evening's newscast. Of course, you can find these and other stories at our website, newsroom.gy, or across our social media pages. Newsroom Guyana. On behalf of the news and technical teams, I am Zini Yearwood. Thanks for joining us.